Hey everybody, welcome back to Trinity Dairy. Today's April 15th, 2026. Beautiful day out, a little bit of clouds rolling in, but pretty warm. I think it's close to 50 degrees already this morning, so that's pretty nice. Got this spike tooth drag up here, doing a little more work on that. I got the other axle mounted on there this morning off that hay conditioner. One thing that Jordan actually noticed that when I pulled this axle off of the hay conditioner, and I didn't really notice it until I got it up here, is this one is quite a bit shorter in length than the other side was. The other side was probably another 2-3 inches longer, which doesn't really make any difference for what I'm doing here. But if you were ever going to use these for something else, keep that in mind, that the right hand side has a shorter axle shaft on it. But so I got this clamped down on here. I don't have this tack welded in place yet on either side. I'm going to do that yet. And I had people, I know I talked about just leaving a rim on there for a wheel, which I think for right now is what I'm going to do. I've actually got another one here. I found a couple of narrower rims. That one's pretty wide. Doesn't really need to be that wide. That are this one here and the other one I found are kind of bent up. They must have been run flat a little bit or something. But the bolt pattern is good, so I'm going to pop the tires off and we'll put the narrower ones on here. Now, some people had commented before to use like tires off of like a riding lawnmower, tires and rims. And that was actually my original kind of plan, was to use something like that. But with having these 4-bolt implement hubs, I would have to almost make my own rims to accommodate that bolt pattern. I had some smaller rims over there, but there wasn't even enough room if I re-drilled the holes and stuff, so I'd almost have to make a rim from scratch for that. The reason that I don't have tires on these, the main reason, at least for right now, is because the way that these wings are supported when they're folded in, if I had a tire on here, it would hit this cross member. Another reason is because these don't really need to have air in them, because if you're going down the road or something, those are the only 2 wheels that are on the road. These are only when it's in the field. And a rim, a steel wheel or a rim, is never going to go flat. So I'm going to try it with the rims. If the rims work good, I'm just going to leave it with the rims. But another thing I was kind of looking at here, especially with this other axle being shorter, it changed stuff here a little. So originally they had this, somebody had put on this, just a barn cleaner chain link, and then this square tube sat up on top of there when it was in transport mode. Well, now with the axle on here and the rim hitting this, I'm able to just hook the axle shaft onto there, and that works pretty well. But with this side being a shorter axle, it kind of sits up on top. It doesn't quite sit right. So another thing I'm thinking about doing here is take these barn cleaner chain links that they have bolted on there completely off, and let me fold this out of the way. Put a piece of angle iron or channel iron or something bolted up underneath here, going all the way across and coming out, you know, even if it came out to like here. So then this whole framework could sit up on there. That would help it sit better on there for transport, and it would also allow me to have a tire on here if I needed to put a 4-bolt rim with a tire on. I don't know, like I said, I want to try it with just the rims. If that works good and does what I want it to, I don't really see the sense of putting a tire on there, just because it's another tire you have to worry about. If you have a tire on there, then it has to have air, or you're going to be, that's going to be flopping around all over. So anyway, I'm going to pop this old tire off the rim, and we'll get that bolted up on here and see what that looks like. So we already broke the bead on this. Actually, one side was already, the bead was broke. The other side, I just hit it a couple times with the sledgehammer, and that popped loose. So that's, a lot of times that's the hardest part, is getting the bead broke. That actually wasn't too bad on this one.
But you don't really need the air right off now.
No.
Because you're not going to have the tire on.
Nope. course, it's full of nasty water because the bead was broke. Come on. There we go. Perfect. I'll get the water on you. All right, so I just put this rim that we just took off up against this other one I had on here. And it is a smaller, this was a 14-inch. And I don't know, this must be a 15. Or maybe even a little bigger, probably a 15. So I think that eye should be a little bit better too. I think a little bit shorter, probably a little bit better yet. So we'll bolt this on the other side and see what it looks like. You got the bolts for this?
I got them on the ground there.
Here, oh. At least you kept them clean.
I do not like anything that's gross. That dirt on that tube looks like poop.
Alright, got a little oil on them. Here, watch out.
Yeah, swing that out.
Yep. Oh, we got a little problem. What do we got going on here? Oh, I see. We're rubbing the rim a little bit. Okay, well, that ain't gonna work. So, a little bit of an issue, I think. So we're hitting the rim is hitting the steel just here a little bit. I think we can probably get by just pulling the rim off and trimming that corner off of that angle piece a little bit. It's not much that it's hitting on, so we'll give that a try. Oh, it's still gonna hit, so I guess we're gonna wind up moving this this axle out just a little bit. Okay, so genius me forgot to hit record for the next part of the video, so I took the grinder, cut the corner off of that piece of steel. It still didn't work. It was still hitting the rim, so I wound up just loosening this bracket and moving it over a little, so this is a lot narrower now. I liked having it out further just for more support, but with this side already having a shorter axle, but I don't think that's going to hurt anything. There's not going to be a lot of stress on this wheel. It's mainly just to hold this up. So then we swung it out. That all worked good. It spins nice and free now, so that's working good. I'm going to, I think now what I'm going to do is go get that other rim, that other 14-inch rim that I have, get the tire off of that and put on, because I like that shorter rim better. Right now it sits a little bit lower than the main frame, but if I have this hooked to the disc, that's going to be higher. That's going to drop the center. It's going to be pretty level anyway. I don't really think that matters because the drags are going to be you know, their sections are off of there, dragging on the ground. So it's mainly all this wheel is doing out here is to keep the end of this from dragging in the dirt. So I'm going to go do that now, get the tire, see if I can get that off the rim. I won't bore you with that. And we'll come back maybe when I get to do a little welding. I want to just put a little weld on here, maybe in here, just so this shaft isn't turning. These brackets have set screw marks in them. I thought about just putting the set screws back in, but I don't know. I think I'd feel a little bit better with a tack weld or something on here. Just, you get bouncing around in the field, it wouldn't take a lot for this wheel to pull itself out, and then you're just dealing with that. So a little bit of weld on there just to keep that from sliding out on each side. And then I think what I am also going to do, like I said, they put these barn cleaner chain links on here to hold this up. I don't know what this would have had originally to hold this up. I'm sure these are not factory. But now that I have those wheels on there, these just don't seem to work that good. So I think what I'm going to do, take these off, run a chunk of angle iron or channel iron, whatever I can find here, across pretty much the whole length of the thing, come out at least past the tire maybe anyway. It doesn't have to be all full length. And then, because those wings don't have to swing in this far for transport. So that will allow me plenty of room for the rim to sit here. If the if I did want to put one on with a tire, should give me room for that as well. So I'm gonna go bust that tire down, get that other rim on there, and then we'll see what we come back to, maybe some welding. Well, there we got the other. I got a different rim. This one was kind of not the prettiest on the inside, kind of rusty, but that's gonna work. I think that's gonna work really good out there. I might, before I weld these up, these spindles, I might bring this one in a little bit more. I don't know. Just because there's quite a bit of clearance on this rim. Maybe I should leave it out there. I'll set both sides, since we know that one works. I'll set them the same. That way if I have a rim that has a different dish, if I ever have to put it on there, it should fit anyway. So yeah, now I just got to weld them up, tack them on there, and I think we'll be ready to try this thing. Oh, this is the, so I had this chunk of angle iron laying around. I'm going to cut it off. I think I measured it out about right here.
Yep, right.
And I'll probably have to flip it over, but we'll bolt it up underneath here. I can't go on top because the pole is going to be in the way, but we'll bolt it up underneath. And this side over here, I've got this sticking out about as far as I think it should be. So if we swing this wing over, that's about where it would sit and still have plenty of support on there. And then that gives me a lot of room, even if I had a tire on there. Plus it still allows it to be folded in so you're not too wide. I actually measured this thing. So when I bought this, I actually didn't measure it with like a tape measure. I figured it was about 20 feet, and my disc was 18. I measured the disc, and I thought that that'll be fine, you know, which couple feet, you know, foot on each side isn't going to be a big deal. Well, I measured this out now, and it's actually, it was a little over, just close to 22 feet, I think is what it was, which still is not a big deal. It's going to be the only place that I can see that it's really going to cause me any trouble is the first pass, like around a field with the disc, because I can't get the disc as close to the outside edge of the field, because the drag will be there first. But that's not really that big of a deal. I can go one pass around with the disc first to till it up, and then hook the drag on, because this hooks up and unhooks so easy. So, and being a little bit wider, that's actually not bad anyway, because if I ever got like a 20-foot disc or something, this would work for that too. Because I thought about, well, I could cut down the ends of the drag sections a little bit, but I don't really want to cut them down, because cut them down, then, you know, it's harder to add back onto them. So not a big deal. It's just, you'll probably notice when we're disking sometimes that this is wider than the disc, but That's actually what I wanted, because the one that I had that I drug on the ground was actually probably a foot narrower than the disc, maybe a little more. So I had a hard time getting it to take out my ridges from the outside of the disc. So this should definitely not have that problem. So yeah, like I said, taking a little bit of fabrication on this thing, but not bad. And I do have, you've seen that bigger one that I pull behind the field cultivator. That's I think that's a 30 foot, so that's way too wide for the disc. Plus that one is a lot harder to fold up and unfold, where this one is much simpler with just these short wings, not having to deal with swiveling wheels and stuff. So I think this is really going to work nice. But I got to run to the bus route now. We'll come back to this when I get home, see if we can get that angle iron cut down and drill some holes in it, get it bolted up there, so those will hang up out of the way like they're supposed to. And we'll weld up them spindles, and then I think we can give this thing a test run, see how it's going to work. All right, well, we got this rig out in the field here. We're going to give it a test run. I figured I'd try it out to start with on plowed ground. I figured that would be the most aggressive test to see how these wheels are going to work that we put on here. Got it hooked up to the disc there. That's trailed behind there nice. It sits kind of high when the disc is up, but the only thing on the back that rubs is the chains, which they did anyway. The only issue when it's on the disc is the way I've got this. So what we did here, I should show you this. So I put this angle iron all the way across to set those wings on. So if I wound up needing to put tires or something on here, I'd still have room to store them, because otherwise they swung in like way into here. So the issue is now when the drag is folded up, I got to be careful I don't turn with the disc too sharp, because it could hit them. But I can always put in another hole to lock them down and slide them in further if I need to. But right now we're going to get this unfolded, get it out in the dirt and see how those wheels work. I did not weld those axles yet. I was going to, and I thought, I better try it out first, make sure I don't need to adjust anything or change anything up like that before I start putting a welding wire to it. So anyway, we'll get it unfolded here and set it down and see what it does. Set up, I think, pretty decent to start with. It's looking pretty good. It looks like they're overlapping each other pretty nice, so that's good. One thing I was kind of wondering about with those wheels I added, if they were going to leave a tire track, especially if I wound up putting on an actual tire. I don't think the rim will leave too much, but it actually looks like the outside teeth are going to cover those up, so I think that'll work out okay. And as you can see, I guess I talked about it a little bit before, it looks like we got about 2 feet maybe on the outside edge of the disc. So it's about 4 feet probably wider than the disc, but like I said earlier, I'm not really worried about that. I'd rather have it that way than 2 feet shorter like the other one was. So we got a little rain coming in here, so if I get any water droplets on the camera lens, I have to apologize for that, but we'll try to get out here and see how it works. Well, just a little distance there, but that actually seemed like it was working pretty good. But the only thing that I noticed, like if you go in a hole or something, you know, the rim is hitting, so it is putting some pressure on these a little bit, you know, but it doesn't look like it moved it at all. Seems nice and tight yet, so that's good. It seems to be doing a pretty good job. I could probably set the disc a little bit more aggressive. I've got it set pretty light, so it could maybe be digging a little bit more, and I am kind of on a ridge here in the plowing that's a little bit higher, where I put the two sides together, so that's gonna cause the disc to act a little funky too. But I think we're gonna go, we'll take this down to the end, and then I think when I come back down, I'll come back down on just the corn stubble over there, and we'll see how that looks. This is what we plowed. Now right here is a dead furrow, so that's going to need to get hit a couple times, but like right here, I mean, this is pretty good for just one pass with the disc and the drag on that plowed old sod. That's really nice. I don't think it would need a heck of a lot more than that, especially to plant corn in. Like I said, obviously here is a rough spot from the dead furrow, and this spot is particularly worse because I closed up this dead furrow in the dark, so it was not my best work. But right here, this is pretty good. Leveled off the disc. This disc, when you've got it set, unless you have it set really light, it could go a little more aggressive yet, but if you've got it set really light, it's not bad. But the more aggressive you have it, it leaves pretty good ridges, and that thing's definitely taking those ridges out. And then we get here into the corn stubble here, and this hasn't been touched with anything but the disc and that drag, and I have to say, it did a nice job here. If I'm going in it with corn again, I don't really know that it would need to be hit with anything else. I don't really have any desire at all to till any deeper than I really need to. I mean, I'm happy with that. Really happy with that. Doesn't seem to be giving me any trouble with the drag being wider, and the axles actually haven't moved at all in there, so I think we got a winner.